There's a quiet power in a woman who knows who she is and doesn't need to prove it to anyone. You may pass her in the street and never guess her depth. You may talk to her and never know what she's been through. Because a wise woman, she doesn't wear her life like a billboard. She moves with mystery, strength, and purpose. In a world obsessed with oversharing, she chooses silence. In a culture addicted to attention, she chooses privacy. Not because she's hiding in fear, but because she's rising in wisdom. She understands that not everyone deserves access to her thoughts, her past, her future, or her heart. And that makes her powerful beyond words. Today we are unlocking the secret behind what a wise woman always hides. 8 sacred things she never reveals to just anyone. These aren't games, these are survival tools, power tools, protection strategies. Because when you keep certain things to yourself, you don't lose value, you gain control. So if you've ever felt the need to protect your peace, your power, and your path, this message is for you. Let's begin. Her next move. A wise woman is never loud about her next move. She's not broadcasting her goals. She's not announcing every idea. She doesn't give a play-by-play of her progress to everyone who's watching. Because she's not every eye on you is a supportive one. Some eyes are envious, some are judgmental, and some are waiting for you to fail, just so they can whisper, "I knew it." That's why a wise woman keeps her next move sacred. Cherish her prematurely because she understands that energy is fragile in the early stages. A dream is like a seed. It needs time, protection, and silence to grow roots. If you dig it up too soon to show it off, it dies. But when you plant it deep and nourish it in silence, one day it blooms and no one can stop it. She has learned the hard way that not everyone who listens is loyal, not every friend is trustworthy, and not every smile is genuine. So she protects her peace by moving in silence and letting her actions speak. So you won't see her talking about the business she's building. You won't hear her speak about the relationship she's healing. You won't know the personal transformation she's undergoing until it's undeniable. And when her next new finally unfolds, it speaks so loudly it doesn't need a caption. This level of self-control and emotional intelligence is what separates a wise woman from the rest. She's not driven by validation, she's not posting for likes or begging for approval. She's driven by purpose, not applause. In fact, the more powerful her next move is, the quieter she becomes. Because she knows that real power doesn't perform, it progresses. A wise woman's learned that peace is found in privacy, that growth flourishes in silence, that when you keep certain things to yourself, you remain unshakable. Because no one can ruin what they don't know about. It doesn't mean she's secretive, it means she's strategic. And when the time is right, when the foundation is firm, when the dream has matured into reality, she steps into the light. Not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove to herself that she was always enough. So if you're watching this and wondering whether you should share that new idea, announce that plan, or explain your next steps to someone who hasn't earned your trust, then protect your path. Honor your silence. Move smart, not loud. Because your next move isn't for the world to watch, it's for the world to witness after it's already done. And when that day comes, you won't have to say a word. Your success will speak for itself. Her financial status, a wise woman doesn't flaunt her money, nor does she complain about what she lacks. She understands that money attracts attention, and not all attention is good. Whether she has little or a lot, she keeps her financial status private because she knows the power of discretion. You see, when people think you're doing well financially, they may try to use you, take from you, or expect things from you that they have no right to. And when they think you're struggling, they may look down on you, underestimate you, or write you off. That's why a wise woman keeps people guessing. She never allows her financial position to define how others treat her or how she treats herself. At High Ashland, she is not interested in impressing people with flashy purchases or designer labels. She doesn't need to prove her worth by showing off material things. Her confidence doesn't come from a price tag, it comes from knowing who she is when the world isn't looking. A wise woman might live in a modest apartment but have wealth in the bank. Or she might be going through a rebuilding season but still walks with her head high because her value was never tied to her wallet. She understands that true wealth isn't about how much you have, it's about how you manage what you have, how you invest it, and how you build quietly without letting ego get in the way. She doesn't post every accomplishment or paycheck online. She doesn't invite unnecessary opinions about how she spends or saves, because financial privacy protects her peace. When others are busy trying to look rich, a wise woman is working on becoming financially free. She saves in silence. She invests without broadcasting it. She gives generously without needing recognition. And she's nobody's financial plan. The moment people think they know your pockets, they begin to project expectations on you. Friends start borrowing. Family starts asking. Strangers start watching. Jealousy brews. Entitlement creeps in. But she sees through all of it and keeps her money moves on luck. She also doesn't use her financial status to belittle others. She doesn't gossip about who's broke or who's struggling, because she knows life moves in cycles. The one struggling today might be winning tomorrow, and the one flaunting today might be broke next week. Humility and privacy go hand in hand when it comes to finances. So whether she's building from the bottom or already standing on top, a wise woman stays grounded. Her silence about money is not about shame, it's about strategy. It's about staying focused on her goals without distraction or noise. Because at the end of the day, she doesn't need to prove she's rich. She just needs to be secure, smart, and silent. That's wealth you can't measure. And that's why her bank account and her boundaries stay protected. Her relationship struggles. A wise woman doesn't open the door for everyone to see what goes on behind closed doors. When it comes to her relationship struggles, her heartbreaks, her arguments, her disappointments, she keeps them private, not because she's hiding something, but because she knows how sacred her personal life is. She understands that the more people you invite into your problems, the more opinions and energy you invite into your peace. In a world that encourages oversharing, where social media has become a diary for the masses, a wise woman chooses differently. She knows that not every fight with her partner needs a public audience. Not every disagreement deserves a status update, and not every breakup requires a dramatic display. Why? Because she understands that healing happens in silence, not in the spotlight. A wise woman knows that broadcasting her relationship pain doesn't bring healing. It brings judgment, assumptions, and sometimes unnecessary shame. When you put your relationship struggles on display, you invite people to take sides, to speak on things they don't understand, and to influence your emotions with their limited perspectives. But she doesn't need that noise. She's learned to process privately, to cry without a camera, to pray without posting. She's not pretending everything is perfect. She just respects herself enough not to air out the parts of her life that are still in progress. Her strength lies in her emotional discipline, the ability to feel deeply without needing public sympathy. Even when she's going through heartbreak, even when her trust has been shattered, even when love hurts more than it heals, she walks with grace. She's not bitter online. She's not throwing shade. She's not exposing anyone, because she knows that real maturity is not in revenge, it's in restraint. And she understands something even deeper. The people who truly love her, who matter in her life, will see the signs. They'll know when she's struggling, even if she says she's fine. And those are the only people she allows into her sacred space. She protects her relationship, not because it's perfect, but because she values privacy over performance. If she's choosing to stay and work things out, she does so in silence. If she's choosing to leave, she exits quietly, with dignity. And if she's healing, she does it in the comfort of her own energy, not in the comment section. Because she knows that the world doesn't deserve a front row seat to her most vulnerable moments. A wise woman doesn't need to prove that she's happy or that she's hurt. She lets her silence do the talking. She lets time reveal the truth. And most importantly, she chooses peace over a public opinion every single time. Her next goal. A wise woman doesn't tell the world what she's planning next, because she knows her next move isn't a show, it's a strategy. She doesn't rush to announce her dreams. She doesn't need to pose her plans or seek validation from the crowd. Why? Because she understands something most people overlook. Premature exposure can kill powerful goals. The more people you allow into your vision too soon, the more likely they are to influence it, consciously or unconsciously, with doubt, jealousy, or distraction. A wise woman guards her next goal the same way a mother guards her newborn child. It's tender, it's growing, it's not ready for the world just yet. She knows that energy is real, and too many outside opinions can smother the fire she's building inside. She doesn't keep her goal secret out of fear. She keeps it private out of respect. Respect for her journey, respect for her timing, and respect for the power of manifestation. She may be planning to start a new business, pursue a new career, move to a new city, or completely reinvent herself. But until the foundation is strong, she stays quiet. Because in silence, she can hear her own voice. She can listen to her intuition without the noise of the world. The wise woman understands that not everyone deserves access to her process. Some people only want to know your next step so they can copy it, compete with it, or critique it. And she's not here for that. She's not here to entertain doubters or explain herself to the curious. She's here to build, to evolve, and to succeed on her own terms. She also understands the power of surprise. There's strength in moving silently and letting your success shock the world. When you don't announce what's coming, no one can sabotage it, slow it down, or steer it off course. You protect your peace, you protect your pace. And when the time is right, when her goal becomes her reality, she doesn't need to scream it. Her results will speak louder than any announcement ever could. The wise woman lives by this truth. When the seed is planted, it needs time underground before it blooms above ground. So while others are busy explaining what they plan to do, she's already doing it. While others are talking, she's transforming. While others chase applause, she chases alignment. And that's why she never rushes to reveal her next goal. Yeah, because she knows the real magic happens in the dark. In silence, in solitude, in secret. Then one day, she walks in the room and everything has changed. Not because she said she would, but because she showed up. Quietly, strongly, unapologetically. That's the power of a wise woman, her past mistakes. A wise woman walks with her head high, not because she has a perfect past, but because she has made peace with it. She doesn't wear her past mistakes like chains around her ankles. She wears them like armor, quiet, invisible, and powerful. Not everyone knows her full story. Not everyone needs to, because she understands that the world is quick to judge but slow to understand. And she didn't survive what she did just to explain it to people who are only curious, not compassionate. Her past is full of lessons, some painful, some humbling, all necessary. She has trusted the wrong people, stayed too long in the wrong places, spoken when she should have stayed silent, and stayed silent when she should have spoken up. She has stumbled, fallen, and had to rebuild herself from nothing. But every mistake became a stepping stone. Every wrong turn pointed her to the right direction, and every scar made her wiser. Yet still, she doesn't broadcast her missteps. Not because she's ashamed, but because she knows that her healing journey is personal, sacred, and too valuable to be dissected by outsiders. She doesn't need to expose her entire past to prove that she's grown. Her growth speaks for itself, in the way she carries herself, in the choices she makes now, in the boundaries she holds with quiet strength. A wise woman knows that people often use your past to control your present. They will bring up old versions of you to distract you from who you've become. That's why she keeps the transformation private and lets her actions reveal her evolution. She knows she is not who she once was. She's not defined by what she went through. She's defined by how she rose from it. There's power in restraint, power in not defending every decision you made. She doesn't need to relive her lowest moments to prove her worth. The people who truly see her, who truly value her, don't need the full story. They can feel the strength in her presence. And even though she's moved on, she hasn't forgotten, not the lessons, not the pain, not the wisdom it brought her, because those mistakes, they shaped her. They stripped away her illusions. They revealed the truth about people, about life, and about herself. Now she walks with clarity, with discernment, with emotional intelligence. And if someone tries to throw her past in her face, she doesn't flinch, she simply smiles and says, yes, that was me, but I've outgrown her. Because the woman you see today, she was born from broken pieces, from nights spent crying in silence, from battles fought without anyone noticing. So no, she doesn't need to tell the world what she's been through. She just needs to keep walking, like she owns every chapter of her story, because she does. And that's the kind of woman you don't forget. Her acts of kindness. A wise woman gives in silence, she helps in secret, she shows up when it matters without needing applause. You won't always know the lives she's touched, the hearts she's healed, or the burdens she's lightened. Why? Because she believes real kindness doesn't need an audience. She's not moved by recognition, she's moved by compassion, by empathy, and by her desire to leave people better than she found them. She doesn't record her charity, she doesn't broadcast the meals she gives or the bills she pays. She doesn't share screenshots of the people she helps or look for clout when she offers support. Because to her, kindness isn't a performance, it's a principle. You might never know that she helped a friend pay rent when they were too ashamed to ask. You won't hear about how she comforted someone at 2 a.m. when no one else picked up. And she'll never tell you about the times she gave even when she barely had enough for herself. She does it because it's the right thing, not the visible thing. The wise woman understands that when kindness becomes about being seen, it loses its purity. So she keeps it sacred. She believes that the truest form of giving is the kind that expects nothing in return, not even a thank you. This doesn't mean she lets people take advantage of her, quite the opposite. She's discerning. She knows the difference between someone in need and someone who's just greedy. But when she decides to help, she does so fully, gently, and quietly. She doesn't use her generosity to make others feel small. She doesn't remind people of what she's done for them. She doesn't say, you owe me, because she knows that the value of giving isn't in the payback, it's in the impact. A wise woman's kindness comes from depths, not display. She also knows that when she gives from the heart, life gives back to her in unexpected ways. Not always immediately, and not always from the same people, but always when she needs it most. That's the quiet reward of moving with good intention. And here's the most beautiful part. She doesn't talk about it, but it shows. It shows in the way people feel safe around her. It shows in the warmth of her presence. It shows in the gratitude whispered behind her back by those she helped in silence. You don't need to shine a spotlight on light, it already glows on its own. So while others are chasing likes, she's building legacy. While others boast about doing good, she's just doing it. Not for praise, not for power, just for purpose. Because the wise woman knows the most powerful acts are the ones you never have to speak about, the spiritual beliefs. A wise woman walks with grace, but not everyone knows what keeps her grounded. That's because her spiritual beliefs are hers alone, deep, sacred, and personal. She doesn't feel the need to wear them on her sleeve, argue them in public, or convince others to see the world through her lens. She understands something profound. What's sacred isn't always meant to be shared, especially not with those who won't respect it. Her connection to something higher, whether she calls it God, the universe, divine energy, or simply inner peace, is the root of her calm. It's why she doesn't panic when storms come. It's why she can walk away when others would stay. It's why she can forgive, let go, and begin again. But she doesn't need to announce her beliefs to prove her strength. She doesn't debate religion at dinner tables or quote scriptures to feel superior. Her spirituality is not about noise, it's about alignment. She prays when no one's watching, she meditates in silence, she listens deeply to her intuition, she honors her path even when it doesn't look like anyone else's, and she knows that not everything can or should be explained. She may fast, journal, read sacred texts, walk in nature, or simply sit in stillness and connect with her Creator. But she keeps it private, because she knows people are quick to criticize what they don't understand. And the last thing she wants is for her source of peace to become a topic for gossip or debate. A wise woman doesn't seek validation for her beliefs. She knows that the divine doesn't need defending. What she believes has already transformed her life. It doesn't need to be proven. She also understands that spiritual growth is not linear. There were times she doubted, times she wondered, times she lost her faith completely, but she always found her way back, not through loud declarations, but through quiet surrender. And that's why she's so strong now. Not because she's religious, not because she follows rituals, but because she's connected to something bigger than herself. And that connection gives her peace that the world can shake. You'll never hear her boast about being enlightened. You'll never see her mock someone else's path. Because a truly spiritual woman doesn't need to dominate, she radiates. Her light is calm. Her presence is healing. Her spirit speaks before she does. She doesn't need to shout to be heard. She doesn't need to prove to be real. She just lives, aligned, aware, and anchored. And in a noisy world full of spiritual performance, a wise woman chooses silence and sincerity. She lets her life reflect her faith. She lets her peace speak louder than her words. Because in the end she knows. The most powerful connection is the one no one can see, but everyone can feel. A wise woman understands this simple truth. Your power is in your silence, especially when it comes to your future moves. She doesn't reveal everything she's planning. She doesn't give the world a step-by-step preview of what's next, because she knows that success grows best in silence. And not everyone watching you is cheering for you. Her next move is already in motion, but it lives quietly within her. While others talk loudly about what they're about to do, she lets her actions speak when the time is right. She understands that energy leaks where attention flows, so she guards her plans like treasure, because they are. You see, a wise woman is always building, always evolving, always preparing for her next chapter. But she does it with grace and secrecy. She's not driven by applause. Lucy is not seeking approval. You don't need to posting every step for likes. She moves differently. She knows that if people knew what she was truly working on, some would try to copy her, others would try to block her, some would even doubt her just to plant insecurity in her spirit. So instead of exposing her progress, she protects it. When she's writing that book, no one knows. When she's launching that business, she stays silent. When she's preparing for that life shift, new home, new job, new relationship, she keeps it close to her chest because she knows the loudest moves often come from the weakest confidence. But when you're secure in your vision, you don't need to shout. You just need to build. She's not hiding because she's unsure. She's silent because she's wise. She understands the spiritual principle of not casting pearls before swine. Not everyone deserves access to her dreams. Not everyone is qualified to hold space for her next level. And when the time is right, when her work is finished, when the door opens, when her soul gives the green light, she moves powerfully, without warning, without hesitation. People won't see it coming. And they'll wonder, how did she do it? The truth, she didn't announce it. She just did the work in silence. And when she arrives at her next destination, emotionally, spiritually, financially, she won't feel the need to prove anything. She'll simply exist in her elevation with grace and confidence, letting her results do all the talking. Because that's what wise women do. They don't chase attention. They command respect. So if she's quiet right now, don't mistake it for inactivity. She's not stuck. She's strategic. She's not lost. She's leveling up. And when she emerges, she'll be unstoppable. Because the most powerful moves a woman ever makes are the ones no one saw coming. Rousey. And that's her greatest strength. A wise woman doesn't need to tell the world she's wise. You see it in how she carries herself. You hear it in what she chooses not to say. You feel it in her energy before she even enters the room. In every part of this video, we've walked through the 8 sacred things a wise woman hides, not out of shame, not out of fear, but out of power. She guards her pain because she's healed herself in silence. She shields her dreams because she knows not everyone will understand. She holds her kindness close because she gives from the heart, not for recognition. She protects her spiritual path, her future plans, and even her moments of vulnerability, because those things are too sacred for public consumption. And this is the truth. The more you grow, the less you share. Not because you're cold, not because you're bitter, but because you've learned that some things flourish better in silence. Some victories are sweeter when they're not paraded. And some pieces of your soul are too rare to be exposed to ordinary minds. Being wise isn't about knowing everything. It's about knowing what to give, what to keep, and who is truly worthy of your truth. A wise woman doesn't need constant validation. She doesn't seek applause. She doesn't compete or compare, because she knows who she is. She is rooted, grounded, centered, and that inner knowing is what protects her peace in a world that tries to shake it. So to every woman watching this right now, if you've ever been misunderstood because you chose to stay silent, if you've ever been judged for not oversharing like everyone else, if you've ever felt like your wisdom made you different, let this be your confirmation. You are not alone. You're not wrong. You are powerful. Keep protecting what matters. Keep moving in silence. Keep growing behind the scenes. Because your strength isn't in how loud you are, it's in how well you've mastered the art of holding back when needed and releasing your power only when it counts. Let the world wonder. Let them guess. Let them talk. Because when the time is right and your results will speak, your light will shine and your silence will echo louder than any words ever could. Do you remember this? A wise woman hides not because she's weak, but because she's learned that the strongest things in life don't scream, they whisper and still shake the world. Stay silent, stay strong, stay wise. And never forget, your power is in what they'll never know.